Hi everybody, Larry Koch from Brainy Marketing. Welcome to the channel. Today a very quick video on LinkedIn targeting. Now I'm going to be covering a sort of basic introduction to how you can effectively target. Remember, there are 650 million people using LinkedIn, and you want to get through to the couple thousand, the 10, 20,000 that would be your ideal customer. Now, there's lots of ways you can cut the mustard when it comes to targeting, but there are some tried and tested ways and rules that you need to remember if you want to get the best out of it. Remember, your approach is only going to be as good as your targeting, so make sure to stay tuned to this and it's going to be great. Now, if you're trying to run LinkedIn ads, I will say that I have a LinkedIn ads tutorial, which will be linked in the description box below. That's going to be more for you if you are just literally trying to run ads. This is going to be a general LinkedIn targeting. Some of the stuff I say here will transfer over to the ads targeting platform, which is slightly different. This will also help you if you are thinking of running a LinkedIn bot, if you are thinking of just doing a messaging campaign yourself, maybe copy pasting some stuff. Maybe you have a targeted list of companies you want to go after and you want to discover some more and message them as part of, just your general strategy. So this is that kind of video. Now, if you ever want to learn how to run a proper lead generation system, do yourself a favor, save yourself 5 years. If you're just scrambling around the internet trying to find out how do I generate leads, I've put it all into one PDF, and that is my leads on tap system. And I've won awards for this. I myself am one of B2B Marketing's 30 under 30 last year. And I've put all of my information, whatever you want to call it, my skills, into this system that I've developed. So you can access that down below. Get it now in the description. So on to today's video. What we're going to do is I'm going to flip over to my laptop here, and we're going to go screen by screen and cover the basics. All right, everybody, I am now into Sales Navigator. I've now got my spectacles on because I really need them when I'm looking at the computer. So if that's a new look for me, then hope you guys enjoy that. So just navigating back a little bit, just so you can see, when you first arrive with Sales Navigator, you find it on your LinkedIn profile from here in the top right. You can also purchase Recruiter Lite if you prefer. That's mainly obviously used for recruiters. If you're using LinkedIn for actual sales business development, then you're going to want to use Sales Navigator. So before we crack on, guys, I also just want to mention you need to subscribe to this channel if you're interested in lead generation or marketing automation. If you're trying to grow your business and you're running around looking for leads and all of that, this channel is going to help you stay focused with the stuff that actually works. So make sure you hit the bell notification as well. Then you'll get alerted to each of my new videos, which are always very topical. And also, I would say, please, can you hit the like button? I spend a lot of time making these videos to help you guys out, help grow your company. I invest a lot of time into it. And so a like really helps the YouTube algorithm promote this to other people. Cool. So now, once you navigate over to Sales Navigator, you're going to be having this sort of setup. Now, just so you know, the difference between Sales Navigator and, say, doing a search like over here for people, you can do that. There's no problem. But you can only search for people who are within your second and third degree connections, and your first degree connections, of course, you can do through this. What Sales Navigator allows you to do, the additional thing, is it allows you to basically go through everybody who's on LinkedIn. So you can search for everyone here. They don't have to be connected to you in any way. So obviously a major advantage. So once you get to here, it's asking you to search for stuff. Now, I just type in hello here. Sorry, if somebody knows the way you can actually get to this page without just typing something in there, please let me know. I just find it's the only way that gets me to this page. So that's a really bad user interface thing that LinkedIn has. Then I'm going to press X on that hello, because obviously that's under the keywords box here, which we'll get to in a minute. So this is now the search page. So all these things on the left are things that you can cut the 650 million people that exist on LinkedIn. You can whittle it down by getting more and more fine-grained over here. So the first bit is keywords. We're going to come to that at the end because that's sort of more advanced. The first thing I want to take you guys through is, I'm just going to go through each of these down one in a minute, starting with the most obvious. So now, if you use Sales Navigator properly, or you do a lot of prospecting in here on a one-on-one basis, like you're an account-based management strategy, you will be looking to see and save leads to lists. So you can use Sales Navigator's functions to keep a track of people's activity. So let's say there's 100 companies you want to work with. You can have all the directors or whoever you want to talk to at those companies saved as leads in lists, and then it will notify you every time they do something on LinkedIn. Let's say they post something, let's say they do something, they interact with something, they share something, they go live. It's going to let you know, and that way you can interact with them. And bit by bit, the idea is that they get to know you through LinkedIn, and then it's sort of social selling. Um, for most SMEs that are not going after specific accounts, if you work with very big companies, that might be interesting. That's not the subject of this video, but that could be interesting to you. For this, we're just going to go into the sort of basics. So we're going to ignore this. Custom lists, we're going to get back to as well. This again requires you to have leads and accounts from before. So again, this is just, you don't need to worry about these two to begin with. So geography is pretty easy. So we're going to take the example of my business. I operate in the Southeast. So you do everything in LinkedIn via cities, and you'll find that most people just list themselves as the local main city to them. So if somebody lives, in around Brighton, but not in Brighton, they live in one of the small villages, they're going to be listed as Brighton because it's really the only option they have. So when you're creating a LinkedIn account, you can only pick a city that's nearest to you. So you'll find that a lot of people will just do the most obvious one, like let's say London. But then if it were me, I would put also like Oxford, which is a city next to London, which you will no doubt know, the famous universities, yada yada, Harry Potter, Cambridge as well. Slough, if you've ever watched The Office, which is a TV program based in the UK. I know there's an American version for you Americans watching, but the UK, Slough is one of the big conurbations near London. Same with Swindon, similar sort of thing. And then, so I could go on and on and on and list the big cities. So you can see up here, it's generated some things for us. So 5 million is the total results. Just focus on this. Don't worry about the rest of it. That means out of the 650 million people on LinkedIn, only 5 million of them are located in these areas. I say only 5 million, that is a boatload. So me as a marketing agency, let's say I want to speak to marketing directors, marketing managers, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus my campaign, or I'm going to focus my messaging on the healthcare industry, right? So if you're a B2B company, it's a very good idea to be targeting one industry at a time, because then you can be really tailored and specific with your information. And people actually prefer knowing that you have sector specificity rather than channel or whatever. So nobody cares that people care less if I'm a LinkedIn ads expert than they do if I'm a healthcare marketing expert. It's just the way it works. So let's say in this case, I'm going to do it by industry at any rate. You've then got relationship. So first degree is people that are directly connected with you. It's like friends on Facebook, it's the same concept. Second degree is they are connected to one of your first degree connections. Third degree is they are connected to one of your second degree connections. I believe that's how it is. So basically third degree, much further away, sort of more tenuous link. Second degree, they're sort of in your orbit. And group members, if you're a member of any group, you can also toggle that. Now for this, I'm going to actually say I don't want my first degree connections. So there's a concept of negativing in these things. So you can actually say what you don't want. For some reason, it won't let me do that with this. So ignore what I just said. I'm going to keep my the entire relationship for everyone. So company, now this is the actual name. So if you didn't know this, you can actually just type in company names. So for instance, the Brains is here. It'll be here, the Brains, there we are. So you could also search for any type of company. You just search for Virgin. They will be here. You can even, if you want, just keep typing in company after company after company. So again, if you have a specific list of people you're going after, just type in the individual companies, and you can just go in there. For me, in this case, I'm an agency. I can work with any healthcare business, really, even from solo healthcare. I'm just using healthcare as an example, right? So now we get to industries. Now, so this is where it gets interesting. You can see that they only show you a limited amount, right? So you kind of might think, is this all the industries they have? But no, you can search. But what good is it searching if you don't actually know the full list? So what I highly encourage you to do is to Google LinkedIn industry developer codes. Just type that in, and you get a list here. which actually is going to give you all of the industries on LinkedIn in one nice list. I'll link to this in the description as well, by the way. Now, you want to be as broad as possible, and I'll get to that in a bit, why you want to do that. So let's say I added, what was it called? Fitness. It was called health, wellness, and fitness. I know that there's another one called, what was the other one? The alternative medicine. Let's see if there's anything else. You can just type in medical. There's medical practice as well as one, and medical device is also one. Cool. So look at that. So I'm dealing with a lot of healthcare companies there. So look at that. Now we're down to 340,000 people. So there's 340,000 people on LinkedIn that are in the southeast of the UK that are in the loosely health wellness kind of area, right? So let's keep this going. The next thing I want to do is I want to actually look at my company headcount. So for me, in this example, let's say that I only want to work with big SMEs. Smaller companies, yes, I can work with them, but I'd much rather have somebody who's got a budget to spend, because that's where I can actually add value. So let's say I do 11 to 50 headcount, 50 to 200, 200 to 500, and 500 to 1,000. Okay, and it even tells you in brackets here how many people you're going to add to your, out of your list you've got. So now I'm down to 59,000 people. I just need to mention to you guys as well. Sometimes when it comes to industry and headcount, people are not putting in the correct data. This relies on the person adding this to their profile correctly. So you may find that they actually put, they might actually be a asset management company, or they might be, let's say, an M&A boutique that focuses on healthcare. They might be a tech company that like serves healthcare businesses, but they aren't technically a healthcare company. They're a tech company that serves that industry. And so they may have, instead of putting their industry as tech, they might have put it as healthcare. You see how this depends on the person. So it'll never be 100% perfect. But when we get to the keywords bit at the end, we're going to uncover what else you can do. So there you go. That's getting pretty good. We're up to 59,000. Now I want seniority level. What good is it, guys, if you're talking to somebody who's at entry level? Are they going to be a decision maker? Unlikely. So I want to focus on the owners of these healthcare businesses, partner level, CXO level, VP level, director level, and manager level. So let me explain to you a little bit about these things. So this is how LinkedIn actually makes this assessment itself, based on your job title, based on the interactions you have on LinkedIn, based on a number of things. So at the end of the day, whether it's partner, manager, owner, director, CXO, VP, this is all the upper brass of companies. You can better in here. Now you can go one level down to senior if let's say you have something really specific to, let's say you're selling to procurement to HR managers. Maybe that there's the senior level people you'd still want to reach out to. You're going to have to make that call. Depends how big your audience is, right? But if you have a choice, you'd want to stick to the people that are more likely to make decisions. So now we're down to 16,000 people. This is much more manageable. Okay. Now what you can add on top of this. So let's say this is where a lot of people trip up. You've now got these two options, function and title. And this is a key thing. So pay attention. Function is a thing that LinkedIn itself has brought in fairly recently, that is all about telling you what it believes the person's role in that company to be. How does it know that? Now, how would LinkedIn know what role you have? Because let's say your job title is just director. LinkedIn can actually tell whether you're the director that does all the marketing, even though you have nothing about marketing in your job title. The way it does that is by looking at your activity on LinkedIn. If you are downloading stuff that's about marketing, if you are in groups that are about marketing, if you are constantly mentioning keywords that are in the marketing subset of keywords, then it's going to start assigning you much more probability as having something to do with marketing or decision making to do with marketing. So oftentimes, if you find that the job titles in your specific area aren't as clear cut, maybe you can just avoid looking at titles altogether and just go for the job function. So in my case, I would do business development, I would do sales, I would do marketing, which is an option, and I would also probably do entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the category they use for business owners, really, like the proper management that started the company, the owners. So That's who I would probably click if I was going to do that. In terms of job titles, now you want to make sure it's stuck to current, because past could be they were at another job before this where they were the owner of a company. Now they're not. They were the marketing manager before. Now they're something else. Who knows, right? So you can pick, but most people are going to go with current. Now, here's a tip. You don't have to. Let's say I type in marketing now, right? It's going to show marketing specialist, blah, 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 marketing director, all these things. You don't have to go in there and click all the things, director, assistant. You don't have to click all those things. You can just title marketing and press enter, even if it's not an option for you, right? So you see how it's just created marketing. Now it means anyone who has marketing in their job title will turn up. So you've got marketing consultant, you've got head of marketing. So this means that you don't have to type in marketing with all these things. You just want everybody who is senior and has marketing in their job title. Now, for me, that would also include people with public relations. That would include people with let's say PR, which is an abbreviation of public relations, right? It would be communications. You find with a lot of let's say older school companies, they call it communications, right? You might have the word growth is often a thing, a head of growth in sort of the more fancy startup companies. You would have, I would want anybody with sales in their job title. If they're director, manager level and above, they're going to be very interested in generating leads as much as the marketing guys. So I would want business development, right? So these are all job titles I'm interested in. Now, I would also want owner. I would want founder. Founder would also include co-founder, by the way, because it's within co-founder. I would want managing director. Now, what you don't want to do is put just director, because if you put just director in there, you're going to get director of operations, director of cleaning, director of, you know, whatever, right? So you don't want to put just director. You want to make sure that you say managing director if you're going to go that route. Then I've done owner, I've done founder. There's a couple other. You can put CEO like this in here. You might want to put COO. You can keep going, right? So I'm not going to do all of them, but that's effectively how you do it. Now, so when it comes to the owners, it's very clear. You've got CEO, you've got founder, owner, managing director. You want to put managing partner, and you want to put chief executive, right? Chief executive as well, because most people are just chief executive officer, chief, so chief executive you would put in as well. You might put chairman as well if you can, if you talk at that level as well. So now I've got in my list here 5,000 potential people in the healthcare industry. So there we go. Now let's see if relationship has woken up here. I'm not sure that it has. Okay, they may have discontinued that. I'm not sure why, but there's usually a little thing here where you can negate anyone who's in your first degree connections. I mean, you don't need to do that, but you can if you want. So here's my list. Here's 5,000 people. So I've gone from 650 million down to 5,000 people that are my perfect customers, right? So this is who I want to go after. Now, bear in mind, you will not be able to just use this entire list. You will not be able to see everybody on this entire list. Basically, it maxes out. LinkedIn maxes out at a certain amount of pages, and then you're basically tapped out. You need to cut this audience into more manageable chunks, such that you can view all of them in one go. If you want any more details about that, just do my LinkedIn bot masterclass, which is going to show you how you go from here to running a bot to automatically message, connect with all of these people. Link will be in the description to my LinkedIn bot masterclass. If you're thinking about doing a lot of activity, messaging a lot of people on LinkedIn, you should get a bot to do it. So there we go. Now, the final thing I want to do is show you how keywords might work. So this is a little bit more advanced. Okay, so that's why I saved it to last. Let's say I don't just want healthcare. I want to work with people who are running or doing the marketing for healthcare clinics. So what I mean is like, dentistry, elderly care, private GP, private hospitals, fertility, psychotherapy, like actual clinics. I can just type into here the keyword clinic. Now, this works like a Boolean trigger. If you don't know what Boolean is, Google it after this video. Boolean just means and or. So you go clinic, or you can say practice or I believe it was like was a clinic or yeah, it's something like that, or appointment. Now, what this does is, so I'll tell you what I've done there, and this it kind of changes per industry, right? So there's 1,000 plus more people here. What I've done here is by saying appointment, practice, or clinic, these are common keywords that people on their profiles, and I did this research. I found people who are in clinics, and I looked at what they were saying on their profiles, and I found these keywords. So most people refer to themselves as a clinic or as a practice, right? So if you find these keywords on people's profile, most likely they're going to be in the right ballpark. Now, like I said, you can never be totally sure, but 1,000 is much better than 5,000, especially if I'm going to be messaging loads of people. I'm going to get way more bang for my buck with 1,000, because those other 4,000, while there might have been a few clinics in there, most likely if they were a clinic or a practice, they would have mentioned those keywords somewhere. And the ones that do will almost certainly be there. Appointment is also something that people have on their profiles all the time. They say to schedule an appointment, blah, 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 come in and see us. They say that a lot on their profile. So that's why I've included that there. For your industry, you need to think about what profile keywords do you keep encountering. If you have, because in the healthcare industry, in all these industries that I've got here, you're going to have everything from medical devices, from like people just who are doing all sorts of things within the medical industry, not necessarily practices. In the example we were working on, I was looking for the entire healthcare industry. If say I wanted just practices, well, I'm going to get device companies, I'm going to get technology companies, I'm going to get consultancies, I'm going to get all sorts of things looped into here because of the way people tag their profiles. So I've added this extra keyword layer on top of this to make it more in line with my specific niche. So that's my LinkedIn 101 targeting. I hope that's really useful. Like I said, you can actually take a lot of this. If you're planning on doing LinkedIn ads, you'll be able to use this as well. So hope it was useful. Make sure to like, comment if you want any other videos about it. Hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. Grab my leads on tap system down below. And if you want to speak to me personally, I've also got a link in the description. Take care, everybody. Till the next video. Hurrah!